In today's video, I'm going to give you a review of the M1 Finance investment platform. Now, there are a lot of investment platforms on the market. You got M1 Finance, Robinhood, Webull, Ally Invest, TD Ameritrade, and the list goes on and on. And it can be pretty overwhelming to choose a investment platform to go with. So whether you are a new investor looking for an investment platform to get started with, or you are a current investor looking for a new platform, or you're exploring another investment platform, this video will hopefully give you some clarity and insight into one of my personal favorite investing platforms, M1 Finance. Alright, I'm going to take you through the M1 Finance platform and show you what it's like from an investment standpoint, and then show you some of the other features that M1 has as well. So after logging into the M1 Finance platform, you'll come to your investment page. And this is more of a dashboard to show you where your portfolio is at. So right upon login, you'll see that you have your portfolio value. And then next to that, you have the gain. And the gain is comprised of your capital gain yield and also any dividends that you have. And that is illustrated right below here. So for example, in my portfolio, my total gain in US dollars is about 3,638. And of that, my capital gains yield is 3,270. And the dividend income that I got is $368. Then you're also able to see the return percent as well. And over here on the right side, you can see your cash balance. And the cash balance is money that is not currently invested in your portfolio. It's just sort of sitting on the sideline. So right now you can see I got $14.97. This is purely from my dividend income, but if you were to transfer money from your bank account to your M1 Finance, let's say $500, this is where that money would sit until you decide to invest it. Now with this cash balance, you have the option to do what is called auto invest. So if I was to turn it on, what M1 Finance would do is they would automatically invest that cash balance into my portfolio. Now with that, there is a $25 minimum that you need to have for the auto invest to toggle. So right now, even knowing if I did turn it on, it would not auto invest because I'm not at that $25. And if you don't want it to auto invest at $25, you can set the minimum that you would like. Say you want $100 in your cash balance before you want M1 to automatically invest it. You can do that too. Or you can just simply turn it off. So scrolling down here, you can see a graphical representation of your portfolio over time. So for example, in my case, I started investing in late January of 2020. And then if I just hover over here, I can see how the portfolio has performed over time. And you can also set your viewing range as well. Right now, I'm viewing my portfolio since the beginning. But if I wanted to check out just what the last year would be, I can click on year, or in the case of a quarter, they got month, week, and even a day. So that's a pretty cool feature. And M1 also gives you a snapshot of your portfolio in what they call a pie. And a pie is essentially all your holdings. And these pies are completely customizable. So for example, what I have is I have my portfolio broken down into different sectors. So I have the ETF sector. This is actually called a slice. So this entire thing is a pie. This is my portfolio. And the different sectors, which is how I organized it, is what I would refer to as a slice. So here I have the ETF slice, which has some of my ETF holdings. Over here is the real estate slice where I have my real estate holdings, and so forth. So that's another cool feature about M1 Finance, is that you can visualize your portfolio in a way that makes sense for you. And then coming down here, I can just see the slices listed out. So for example, we got this ETF slice. So if I would just click into there, you would see my ETF holdings. So for example, we have, VTI, SPHD, VYM, all ETFs, and I categorize that by placing it into my ETF sector. So this in itself, you could call it the ETF pie. And within the ETF pie, you have the ETF holdings. And then here you can see the data for that specific pie as well. So in this ETF one, you can see it has a market gain of $7.12 and dividends of $72. So that's a pretty cool feature. M1 Finance, it allows you to customize your portfolio in a way that works for you, and then you can see the data based on how you organize it. All right, so let's go back to the main dashboard just so I can show you something about how the money gets invested. So when you invest money into your M1 portfolio, you can do it in a few different ways. The first and main way is to invest your money in a way that spreads out over all of your holdings. Now, if I was to invest $500 into this portfolio, naturally, M1 Finance would disperse that $500 throughout all of my holdings in a way that the actual percentage would match the target percentage that you have allocated. Because you see, your portfolio will have something called portfolio drift. This is when your actual portfolio starts to move away from what you have allocated as your target. Looking at this real estate sector, for example, you can see that the actual is 15.5%, but my target that I have specified for it is 15%. So right now it's 0.5% overweight, you would call it. So right now, real estate takes up 15.5% of my portfolio. Whereas if we go to the consumer sector, it's actually underweight. It's 14.3% when I had specified I want my target to be 15%. So it's 0.7% underweight. So if I was to invest that $500 into here, what M1 Finance would do is it would not invest it in the overweight holdings. It would only invest it in the underweight holdings to get it back to that target allocation. And I think this is a really nice feature as well, because if you are an investor who likes to do their research and sets, target weights for specific holdings, this is a really great feature because you do not want to drift away from where you feel your portfolio should be. And another way to invest is you can put your money directly into a pie or holding, and you can let it go overweight or underweight. If I wanted to invest in the consumer sector, I would just go to that on my portfolio, and I would scroll down and I would just hit buy or sell. So then any money that I invest, it would just purely go into all of the holdings within this pie. And even on a deeper level, if you wanted to invest into just one holding, well, you just go to that holding in your pie. So say, for example, Costco, just click on Costco and I could just buy Costco if I wanted to. So M1 really gives you that flexibility to invest in a way where you can manage your target allocation percentages. Or if you feel like a stock is going to do well this year and you want to put more money specifically into that holding, you can do that as well. So you really have a lot of flexibility when it comes to how you want to invest into holdings within M1 Finance. Another cool thing about M1 Finance, and which is mainly the reason why I signed up, is for fractional share investing. And what fractional share investing is rather than buying an entire share of a company, you can buy a very tiny fraction if you want. All right, let me just run you through some of the tabs up here. So if you click on portfolio, that gives you the dashboard to your portfolio, which we just went over. The next tab would be the activity tab. And here you can see the various activity within your portfolio, any trades that you made, being buys and sells, any money movements, so like any deposits into your M1 account. The next tab is the holdings tab, and this just lists out all of your holdings. In here you can play around with as well. You can filter by anything up in this header here. So if you want to filter by shares, you can just click on that and you can see which holdings have the most shares. You can sort by price, cost basis. And then over here on the funding history, you can see a bar chart of all the money that you invested in various years. And that is really the investment part of M1 Finance. It's a completely free platform. You can organize your portfolio in any way that works for you, and you can invest in fractional shares. So those are the main reasons why I think M1 Finance is a great platform. Now, apart from the investing side of things, M1 actually has some pretty cool features. The first one is the M1 Spend. And what this is an M1 Spend is actually a checking account. So you can get your own M1 debit card. And this is beneficial if you want all your money integrated into one platform, like your spending money in your checking account, and then also your investment money, right? You can easily transfer back and forth and, move your money around pretty easy. And the cool thing about the M1 Spend account is if you actually join this M1 Plus we'll get into in a little bit, you will actually get 1% cash back as well as a 1% annual yield on your checking account. And to be honest, a 1% return on your checking account is actually pretty good. I mean, if you're not comfortable investing your money and you just want to put it, in some sort of checking or savings account, consider an M1 Spend account with the M1 Plus so you can get that 1% annual percentage yield. The next feature, which is pretty cool, is M1 Borrow. And M1 Borrow is a feature where you can borrow a certain amount of money based on the value of your portfolio. I believe you can borrow up to 35% of your portfolio, but the one caveat is that you need to have over $10,000 in your M1 Invest portfolio. And it's really easy to borrow this money. I can just go down here to this borrow button and select how much I want to borrow. And right now, based on the value of my portfolio, I can borrow $6,600. And the current rate to borrow that money is 3.5%. However, if you do sign up for that M1 Plus feature where you pay $125 per year, you can actually borrow money at 2%. And in my opinion, that's a really good deal. That might be worth signing up for M1 Plus by itself. And this money, you can do whatever you want with. You can invest it back into your portfolio, start a business, or maybe you want to pay off a loan that has a higher interest rate than 2%. You can do that too. So those are some of the nice features of M1 Finance. You have the free investing where you can invest in fractional shares and you can organize your portfolio in a way that works for you. You can open up a checking account with M1 Spend. And if you do sign up for the M1 Plus, you can get a 1% cash back and 1% annual percentage yield. And the other cool feature is M1 Borrow, where you can easily take out money based on your portfolio value. And again, if you have M1 Plus, right now you can borrow at a 2% rate rather than a 3.5% rate. Now, a few cons I did want to mention about M1 Finance that I have noticed so far is number one, there's only one trading window. So if you are a day trader buying and selling stocks all throughout the day at different times, M1 Finance is not going to be the platform that you want to go with because there is only one trading window. So if you are comfortable trading just one time a day, or you're more of a passive long-term investor, but I guess if you do sign up for M1 Plus, you do get another trading window later in the day. So that is a bonus, I guess. But overall, I guess in the future, it would be nice to see, just a few more trading windows available. And the only other negative thing that I have, and this is probably more of just a personal thing, is I would really love to see how many shares of a company I had when I got paid a dividend. If I navigate up to my activity tab and I click on one of these dividends, so let's say Cisco, if I click on that, I can see how much I got paid in this dividend. But one thing I would really like to see is how many shares of Cisco that I had when this dividend was paid. So those are just my two cons that I wanted to throw in here. But apart from that, I really do think M1 is a really great investing platform. I would say it's definitely more suited for the longer term, hands-off, passive investor, mainly due to the fact that you only do get that one trading window, or two if you do sign up for the M1 Plus feature. Now, if you are interested in using M1 Finance, you can sign up in my affiliate link in the description. You'll get something for signing up, and I'll get something for referring you. So it's a win-win situation. It really helps support this channel. But overall, I hope this video was insightful for you. I hope you got a lot of good information. I really wanted to navigate you through the platform itself rather than just list a bunch of things like in a PowerPoint or something. If it was helpful and you did like the video, please give me a thumbs up and please do subscribe for more videos in the future.